IVM.
Hello, dear listeners, and welcome to Simblified, the finest podcast, as Chuck would say, to come out of Malad West. And as a bonus, we promise to make you sound smarter, even if we can't actually make you smarter than you already are. And you evidently are very smart, because otherwise you wouldn't tune into.
Yeah, we have a very niche audience of 7 people. So
a very top all the top intellectuals are here.
Absolutely. You are the 1%.
Yeah, you are the 1%. So, yeah, it's good to be back. It's been a harrowing few months. Everything has been in a shambles, I guess, for all of us. And I'm happy things are, not worse than they already are. So,
yeah,
trying to find optimism. So, among the things that, that gives hope for normal people, or not normal people, for people...
For the 1%.
Apple fans, yeah. For people who are Apple fans is... so, I have a few of them in my family, and they're practically wetting their pants because Apple iPhone has something called LIDAR.
Okay.
Yeah, and... I for the life of me, I couldn't understand first of all, what it was and why it was so awesome. But
just like everything else about Apple, no? Everything's awesome. And you can't disown your own family members. So yeah, I feel sad for you.
And it's almost like a religion, right? So you cannot cast aspersions. You cannot insult Apple's. If they've made something, then it is good. It's very creationist like that. It's like everything that God's made has a place in the world. So you can't challenge that if you're a religious person. Apple is something like that, right? Except that God is still good.
But you still have to pay for it, right? You have to be...
Yeah.
And that adds to the cult value also, no? Because you're not just emotionally invested, you're financially invested also.
Yeah. So
massive endowment effect and stuff like that.
This is a terrific, spoof video I had seen a few years ago about two guys, one guy basically talking in Mexican, one toothless guy who says that he claims to be he's an old guy. He claims to be an Apple design engineer.
Okay.
And he's laughing. He can't stop laughing because they actually removed all the USB ports and they increased the price by some $10,000. So he's like, $10,000. Yeah.
No, that's a meme video, I think. So basically, people use the different subtitles for that. But fits very well. So you were telling us about LIDAR.
Yeah, so recently Apple launched its iPhone 12 Pro, iPhone 12 and iPhone 12 Pro. And in the iPhone 12 Pro, they gave something called a light detection and ranging scanner, which is also a LIDAR. So
I thought you meant that they took out the charger and made it lighter. No.
That's a different thing. That's MagSurf. That is MagSecure, MagSurf, something like that. Yeah. So that one little aperture also they want to do away with. Yeah. So they did away with the 3.5mm jack. They did away with the USB thing, and that little charging aperture is also. It's like that joke, somebody goes to heaven and one really bad, evil guy, maybe Bill Clinton, and he's with a beautiful blonde and a barrel of liquor, and this guy says, how can this guy be, he's a bad guy. So the angel says that, the barrel has a hole in it and the blonde doesn't. So it's like...
Oh, God.
So it's like Apple iPhones are getting there. But the LIDAR is pretty... So I read up about it, right? Because everyone was going... really nuts about it. So it is quite a remarkable piece of engineering. That's what I find.
LIDAR stands for, you said, light detection.
Light. So radar stands for radio detection and ranging. That's what RA is, radio detection and ranging. That's what radar stands for. And what radar does it sends radio frequency waves, which are very, very long wavelength waves. And basically, most things are transparent to those, like many obstacles, many things are just, radar can pass through a lot of them.
Yeah.
And
except
radar bounces
famously.
Yeah. It doesn't penetrate, as we know. Yeah. And the other thing it doesn't penetrate is metallic object. So that bounces back, and then you can sense what metallic objects are coming at you. And because the range is very large, it's been the surveillance tool of choice for military applications, and then also for planes and things like that. So your air traffic controller has to know exactly which planes are where, so that they can plan the traffic and make sure planes don't keep bumping into each other. And LIDAR they replace the very long wavelength radio waves with very short wavelength light.
Okay.
And they use basically infrared because they don't want visible light. And this makes it more precise, and it's much, and it's laser, so it's all very coherent, collimated. So what they do is they send a very, very, very small pulse to an object, and it bounces off the object and comes back, and there's a receiver that receives that pulse, and it measures the distance between these two events, the time difference between these two events, and it calculates a difference. And I did the math. So light travels approximately at 300,000 kilometers a second. So if an object is 1 meter away, it takes 3.33 nanoseconds to get there.
Okay.
And another 3.33 nanoseconds to come back. So you have to measure the interval with that level of precision. So with a precision of 100. So your pulses have to be at least 100 times faster than that. So that itself is very, very, challenging in electronic terms, number one. And number two is
to measure with that precision. Okay.
And, if you want to measure, if you want to measure an object, you can't just have one pulse. If you have just one pulse, you only know how far that object is. You don't know anything else about an object. And what the iPhone has, it has a grid of, maybe 10 by 10 grid of light sources. So you have 10 beams going and coming back. So they know what is the relative distance between each of those, features of that object. So if it's a chair, your handles will be at a different level. The back of the chair will be at a different level. The legs will be at a different level. And this takes all that data, crunches it, and forms a 3D model inside.
Oh, okay.
So it knows in 3 dimensions what is there. So what it can do is, if you have your iPhone and you point at an object and click it with your LIDAR, it has a 3D, so it knows, and because it's coupled with AI, it knows whether it's a chair or a table or what the shape is actually. Even though it knows the shape.
Right. And
what it does is it creates a, sort of a 3D image of that entire space you're in. And they've got this wonderful tool. Now they're figuring out what to do with it. So many decades ago, when I was a young kid, there was this Bollywood movie. The 2 comedians, that's all I remember. One of them is a guy named I.S. Johar, and I don't remember the other guy. And they go around singing. The song is that these 2 guys have found a key. Okay, that is the plot of the whole movie. Okay. They found a key, and they're convinced that it's going to open a lock, which is going to give them a lot of triggers. So they just go around trying to figure out which lock opens. So that's similar to what Apple is doing. So Apple's
well, what would help is if they had for their marketing, if they had some lie detection and ranging technology.
Yeah. Oh man, if they make that, then that will keep beeping all the time in America.
During the keynote. Yeah.
So that's so the engineer. One of the reasons all this is possible. One is because there's Apple. The second is they've got some seriously heavy-duty hardware inside, which is able to grab everything.
So this is already in the iPhone.
It's already in the iPhone. It was introduced in the iPad Pro in March.
Okay.
And then they had to miniaturize it further, and they did that, and they now put it in the iPad, in the iPhone Pro and the Pro Max, not in the regular iPhone. And they charge about $300 more for this thing. Oh. And many people feel that even that is actually, Apple's probably losing money on that, even with charging $300, like 22,000 rupees more, right. Because it's really heavy-duty hardware there.
Okay. But we don't know what it can be used for yet.
So they've got apps. So there's some nifty apps. So one really nifty app is, so it was working even without LIDAR. It is an app developed by IKEA. So you take a photo of your room.
Yeah.
And you choose an IKEA piece of furniture from its catalog, and you pop it into your room and see how it looks. So, for example, you have a living room, you have a sofa, you want to buy another standalone chair, and you want to see if it goes with that.
Yeah.
And it'll sit there right in front of you on your phone, and you can see. Or if you want to change your curtains, or add a dining table or whatever. So
my daughter does what with Google. They have animals. Like a certain catalog of animals which you can just pop into your living space.
So this thing makes it so actually AR people have done this purely on vision. And in fact, Elon Musk feels that LIDAR is a waste of time. So he was talking in the context of...
who better to know about waste of time than Elon Musk? If it is one of the ideas he's, discarded, then it's probably definitely a waste of time.
He minces no words. So he's like, stupid idea, useless. And his point was, you can get the same level of, mapping with visual things as well. So what his point is, you have two cameras slightly, some distance apart. You can take a different viewpoint. You can do a lot of computing, and you can build a 3D image. He was talking in context of self-driving cars and autonomous cars and things like that.
Like how people see, like with two eyes.
Exactly, binocular vision. Yeah, that's how people see. And that was exactly his argument. He says, you have all humans, animals, everyone, and animals which don't have binocular, like for example, a bird or a rabbit. It has, a rabbit, for example, has eyes on either side of its head, and they have two different fields of vision. So a rabbit can't have binocular vision. So what it does is, it does get binocular vision. It does that by bobbing its head. It really keeps, that's why they keep bobbing their head up.
That is terrible. Can they see their nose?
I don't think so. I don't
wow.
No matter how much you bob your head.
Yeah. But so you're saying birds also don't have binocular vision?
Yeah, because they have eyes on. They don't have a shared field of vision, so they have to like bob their heads up and down, and they do that also by So he says that this is how nature functions, and if we just are able to find the right algorithms and use existing. So his argument is, LIDAR scanners are really expensive. They're always going to be expensive because you want to make very, very, very short wavelength, time duration pulses, and that electronics is always going to be very expensive.
Right.
So it is, and it's all that femtosecond go into. Femto apparently is 10 power minus 12 or something. Okay. So it is ridiculously, cutting edge. So those chips need to be insanely, well manufactured. The purity needs to be high and everything.
Yeah.
And
and just two cameras does the same job basically.
Yeah, your cameras are doing that, regular time.
Yeah.
All you need to do is grab the data and crunch it and build a 3D image out of that. And they actually demoed it. They demoed a use case where they built a 3D map of their environment for a car so they could tell the self-driving car could tell which object was a car and which object was, just a park bench, or which object was a street light, and so on.
Right.
But Apple being Apple, Apple has one. If it brings something into existence, there's an entire ecosystem that follows them and builds use cases for those things.
Yeah.
So that's actually the real success of
build it, they will come.
Yeah, build it. Then they people who have spent the $300 extra on the phones are the guys who are the suckers, basically, because there really aren't that many use cases. I saw one pathetic use case. You take the iPhone and you sort of click pictures in your room. You just and it gives you a plan, right? A floor plan of your room.
Okay.
And it's really, you could just measure it with a tape and do it. You don't need a 300. Yeah, it's like $3 tape should be fine.
Yeah. No, but if you're into renting houses and the broker is claiming X amount of area.
Yeah, you can do that.
Then you can do it, right? If you're seeing 10 houses.
7 square feet short. Yeah. A broker still going to screw you.
Yeah.
It's still 1,500
This is
square
Bombay.
feet.
Yeah. By virtue of putting things out there, eventually people get used to it. Like Google recently changed the logo for all of its suite of products, right, into one rainbow thing. It looks quite ghastly now, but I'm sure in 6 months people will be like, "Oh, nice logos!" Like you just get
exactly. Yeah. And the whole field of AR, it's in its infancy, and people really haven't wrapped it. So it's just basically most AR that we know is the Snapchat filter where kids love them. I'm sure Emma loves them.
Yeah.
It just your dad becomes a dog and it's great fun actually. Yeah. So even my 24-year-old son gets a lot of tics out of making his turning his mom into all kinds of funny faces.
Yeah.
But there will be other use cases, and after some time, it's like maps. So when maps came in, I was one of the guys who was very skeptical about the use of maps. Because back then, if you turned your location on, you just suck out the battery. So none of us would, we wouldn't turn, because phones were for talking to people, right? So you didn't want to use up that thing. I remember, I'm talking about maybe 2001 or 2002 or some such time, when maps had just come in.
Okay. The older versions, like.
Yeah, and I had one of those early smartphones, and it would, if you turned your sort of location on, I don't know what they called it. Yeah, location was what they called it. It would suck out the juice in your battery in a matter of 1 hour. 1.5 hours. So you wouldn't. And the thing was, I know every road in Malad West, right? So I live in Malad West. I don't need, why the hell would I ever need that?
This is typical dad behavior, right? And also there, the entire mapping took a while, like to get to the last mile and stuff like that.
And that was the other argument. It was useless because it would show you roads in the city. Yeah. But you just go 50 km out of Bombay and there was nothing. There would be a road and it would make mistakes and it would send you down wrong roads. It had all those kind of problems.
Correct.
Maps, I cannot imagine living without maps. I'm constantly on the map now. Everyone, all of us are.
Yeah. I think someone said the previous generation would be the last one to ever be lost, right? No, like you can't get lost anywhere now unless your battery runs out. By the way, I just checked. Maps was launched in 2005. So.
Okay. Maybe I got a beta version. Yeah. No, but it was really early. I remember because I was in my factory was in a different location. That's where we moved out of that location in 2007 or something. And I had this thing before that, the geolocation.
So let's see what LIDAR brings.
Yeah. And so that's currently that's what everyone's getting very excited about, and that's the other. So it's one big sort of use area is going to be gaming, I guess, because you can have you can fight monsters in your room.
Yeah. And it's always
that monsters you're not married to. Yeah, those monsters.
It's always that case, no? It's first porn, then gaming, then whatever.
Yeah.
For all new technology, that's the way.
And many of them just don't live up to that. So we did an episode on VR.
Yeah.
And VR has really sort of evolved in gaming, and people now in the US at least they get really sophisticated headsets, and you can play a lot of games on them. Yeah. But it's still a very, very, very niche product. So it's not. There was a time when people thought everyone would have a VR headset, and then everyone would go all over the world in a headset.
Yeah, but it's still disorienting and stuff, right? That part.
It's disorienting. It's nauseating. You're, if you sort of look around and your environment changes, but your body doesn't. The body sensors don't realize that the environment. It makes you throw up. Yeah. So for some people. So it's not for everyone. Yeah.
Just like Apple, which makes many people throw up, and it's not for everyone.
Yeah. So that's about LIDAR from me. I thought I would talk about it because I just found it technically very fascinating.
Yeah, amazing. And just 15 years from now, you can say that when LIDAR first came out in 2014,
I had LIDAR 5 years before.
Episode 1025 of Simplified we shall talk.
Okay, so it was fun being back, and it was fun sort of illuminating the general public about the awesomeness of Apple versions. I don't know. Are you an Apple user?
No. I've got one iPad.
Same here. I've got one iPad on which I do my. And iPad is really great for doing Zoom sort of calls. Yeah. But that's about it. So, right. So stay safe. And stay LIDAR'd and stay simplified, and see you guys soon.
See you. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed that show. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Want to wish you all a happy Diwali. Hope you had a great festive season. It's been a great week in terms of the kinds of guests we've had and the kind of conversations we've had on the network this week. Do definitely check some of these things out. On This Round's on Me with Gauri Devidayal, she had a great conversation with Garima Arora, who's one of the best-known chefs in the world. It was just absolutely riveting. Do check that out. On States of Anarchy, Hamsini Hariharan spoke about chronicling India's different wars. Again, really interesting episode. Check that out. Ashton had a very interesting episode on his show, The Habit Coach. It was called I Don't Feel Like Doing Anything. It's about how to overcome malaise just generally, and I thought really, really interesting stuff. Kumi Vayana was the guest on Cider Says on Monday's episode last week, and she's an educator, and my God, it was such a fascinating conversation talking about the way education functions in India and some of the changes she'd like to see. Just really, really interesting stuff. Do give that a listen. On Uncle Please Sit, Anupam Manur was there with Joel and Tushar talking about the Indian economy. Part 1 of a 2-part series. Second part will be out this week. You should definitely check that out. Lastly, I want to talk to you all about the Filter Coffee podcast. Karthik Nagarajan, who hosts that show, is on a little bit of a break. He's back with a banger of an episode. It is with Himura Maya, who used to run Landmark Stores, and they talk about the culture of bookstores and quizzing and all kinds of stuff. Really interesting conversation. Do check that out. And with that, I hope to see you again next week.
Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli, Don Bradman, and now Cyrus Brocha. Okay, probably not in the right company. I mean, Don Bradman is Australian. But it's called Cyrus Says, a wonderful show about everything. Find the show on the IVM Podcast app, ivmpodcast.com, or wherever you listen to podcasts.